want to ask you to tell if anytime in the building, can you please
That's amazing. I was at school at a time where everyone would wear the same thing. And at that time you only had Foot Locker and JD, and I was just not the weird kid, but the different kid who would just find new brands and wear it, and people would be like, where did you get that from? So Shadez was just more like, oh, the cool guy. To add more purpose and meaning, I wanted it to mean like shadow and God's light, just to kind of humble myself and remind me why I'm here. Misfit is just to remind me that I don't want to be like anyone else. I'm here for a reason. I'm here to just really, really stand out and do something of real substance. So yeah. The fundamental is hip hop, but it's experimental because I'm inspired by all types of genres. And if you think about hip hop spans and samples from different genres, from blues, from jazz to anything you could think of. It's experimental. Really and truly, I didn't start out in music. I started out in fashion, in graphics, and it was I couldn't keep a diary. It was a way of conveying my thoughts and feelings, and at that time I was inspired by Kid Cudi, Drake, Andre 3000. They got me into music. I've always been into music, I always loved music, always would rap in the bathroom to myself, but I liked the way they would write, and it was very descriptive, and it was very like based on real life events. I think that's where it all started for me, and then took it to the stage. I first performed at Isle of Live, did an open mic. At the time I was performing songs that I didn't have money to record at a recording studio, so I was performing songs in my head, and people liked it and asked where can I find this music, and it kind of was like a questionnaire or a first hand to let me know, all right, I need to really pursue this and take this a lot more seriously. So yeah, that was the start of me. I've kind of took time out to refine myself, find myself, understand how I want to be perceived sonically, and it's going to be a lot more refined, even down to this next project, my debut EP, which is called Ne Plus Ultra. It's Latin for the highest height. It's like Latin for onwards and upwards, and it's about elevation, and that's how I want my sound to be. I really embrace being an independent artist. In this day and age, you've got all the tools and the utensils to really push forward. You don't really need a label when you can get distribution deals for very cheap. You can get yourself on iTunes, you can get yourself on Spotify, you've got tools such as YouTube, you've got social media, you've got all these outlets which 15 years ago you couldn't get. And you would need a major label, because how would you get your music out to the masses? Now you've got, the masses is just on the World Wide Web. And it's a great time to be independent. But at the same time, it's different for different people. For myself, I would love to be independent, but I know I can't do everything myself. I'm only one person, and sometimes you do need help. Sometimes, whether it is marketing, whether it is distribution. The only thing is, and as an independent artist, I would say to others who are really trying to get out there, don't compromise yourself, don't sell yourself short, but don't allow someone to speak on your behalf when you know how you want to create or you want to be perceived. Come on now, behind the scenes, think about it. You had end-ups making them look very hood, and then you'll have a Jason Derulo or a Neo, and then you put them in suits to make them look a lot more tailored. It's a big juxtapox, it's like a big oxymoron. Why can't we just be ourselves and find ourselves through the music? Obviously there's no such thing as artist development no more, but they play to the stereotypes. You will have some artists who really look too polished. And even if you understand behind the scenes, there's always going to be people who don't get you, from just the skin color to just the music. They're not going to understand. What I hate is that you sign an artist because you love them for being different, and then when you sign them, you want them to sound like everyone else. And that, to me, has always been my love-hate relationship with a label. With the 360 deals, for an artist like myself who's creative, and I'll use myself as an example because I started out in fashion, I started out all these places, and I love to create merch, I love to create in that sense, but with 360 deal, I feel like minimize the risk of a label signing someone, they do that so they can get their money back. And that's the hardest thing, for a label to have faith in you. They're scared of risks, they're scared of pushing boundaries. So that's why music right now sounds so lame, it sounds all the same, because they have a formula, and it's that saying, if something's not broke, why should we fix it? Not realizing the state of music right now could be a lot better. There could be a lot more palettes, a lot more vibrancy, a lot more standout music, which could probably sell a lot more, but no one wants to take the risk. That's the only reason why people, I feel, labels do 360 deals. You gotta understand, like, no one's really buying music out here. It's only singles. No one's really buying albums. Albums are being created around singles as a whole. Whereas with Americans, they can create an album and let it be a great body of work. We've always been influenced by American music. Just by the culture, just by the videos. There's bigger budgets out there. There's a bigger market for the music they are making out there. It's great, and I love what Skepta is doing for the UK. It's a great thing, because he's opening doors and he's allowing other artists to really strive. And if he opens a door and shows people in the US artists here, it kind of creates a broader outlet. Like, yeah, there is great music here. There's great people you should invest your time into. If the Americans were a lot more open-minded to the UK music, we can come together and kind of create without it being, oh, they're only big because of so-and-so. But at the same time, if the UK could think different in a sense of, it's wild, if they could think different in the sense of not caring too much about American influence. Because we are the catalysts. Americans come here for inspiration. When you think about it, look at Kanye all day. He came here and had us on stage. That's inspiration within itself. He could have got anyone. He could have got the big pyramid. He could have got Flames, but he got us, and that shows that he was inspired by us as much as we're inspired by him. So I think it's about perspective and just kind of not putting too much energy into it and realizing that we have a lot more power than we think. So yeah, I'm constantly influenced by I'll say right now, definitely Kendrick and Drake. Just Drake in the sense of business, how he's really showcasing himself as a brand, how he's getting his message across using outlets and maximizing those outlets. Again, being a multi-layered artist. Kendrick again, showcasing the message in a non-violent way or a non-aggressive way, also in a creative way, which visually strikes, again, touches many people because he's going to do it justice. Let me not disregard the influence of Dizzy, Kano, and Wiley when I was growing up, and the Morfire crew, and so especially So Solid. That growing up, my good friend Mighty Mo, so Heartless crew as well. All that at that time was so key to my upbringing and just opening my head. For me as a Misfit, I would like to work with people who are different as well, and it's all about coming together and creating possibilities you never thought could actually happen, and sonically kind of shock people, which is quite cool. On this next project, I've got good friends of mine, Bipolar Sunshine, Todd the T, and a few surprises in the pipeline as well. So yeah, it's quite cool. When you listen to music, it's a sense of euphoria. So I'm always trying to get that feeling when you first hear a song you really love, and it's just whoa, orgasms. Career-defining moments. There's loads. The one which really got me at a young age was performing on live TV for Channel 4 alongside Fun Loving Criminals and Plan B. That was an experience within itself, and I think that was the catalyst to me actually taking it seriously, because from out of over 4,000 entries, I win a competition and perform, and then I get to meet my manager Tosh, who's my manager to this day. I get to meet different walks of life and understand if you work hard, you can get to this place. Getting to meet and work with people I love. So I guess like, I love like Adidas, Filling Pieces. I work closely with Gio. Gio's my dude, man. He's a legend. But to me, that's my brother. He's an influencer, a culture shifter. He's switched up the game in regards to work of doing the Yeezus stuff and stuff he's done in the past. I've met Pharrell, I've met Kanye, I've met Drake, Tyler the Creator. People, and then actually have like solid conversations with them. I think the defining moment is seeing how people react to your work, and especially not realizing that it's you that has kind of contributed to that moment or to that breakthrough. So I think those are just, there's loads of moments, but I would say those are some that kind of hit me every time I look back, and I'm like, oh wow. How I balance all these things, how I just don't sleep. I've kind of sacrificed sleep at a young age, even though sleep is important. I thought to myself, I'd rather do it now than be like 40 and I need my sleep, and it's essential to rest. Whereas right now I've got the energy to just get up and go and really just invest my energies and prioritize and invest in myself. Actually, I think the young age, as young as you are, you should invest into finding yourself and raising your value and worth as an individual. I think that's key and important. How does that relate to balancing? Once you have that in mind, that to me makes more sense.